So yesterday I told you to do this one. Has anyone tried working on change? Okay. So if you have tried, you can send me through Telegram or email. Now I'll work on this part. So whenever user is choosing an option for that question, we'll see the what is the step also, what user has chosen, and we'll also see what is the question details are there. So on change, I will see the question details also and also the value which user has chosen. So let me refresh. If I choose Biden, I am getting he has chosen 1 and the correct is 1, and so I have ID, question ID, I have the options, I have the question. Okay, let's go to the next page. Try to do it for next page, and I'm getting the information for the next page. If I go third page, I'm getting information for the third page. He has chosen 2. The correct answer is, for example, 0. Okay. So let's now put this in the form values. Okay, so let's put in the form values, and okay, so what I will do, I will take the question ID. Okay, so let's create the object which I will be saving it, or I can only set the value also. So there are many ways to do the same problem. I'll try one method now, and if I get some problem in the future, I will change the information here. Okay, so let's try one method now. So I will just say set form values. So we need to call the set form values to save the information. Now I want to ask you, what should I put inside this set form value? First step, what should I put it? There are many things I have to do inside it, but what is the first step I have to do in any, whenever I call the set form values? Okay, so before spread operator, we need to put the arrow function. Okay, so let's put the arrow function. Okay, and now I will take some variable here, for example, FV. And here I will return. If you don't return, then everything will be broken. I have to return this FV as it is. So I have to say dot 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 FV. That means I will take all the current object which we have for the form values. So this FV is nothing but the form values. And then what will be the here key value pair I should put it here? Can anyone suggest me? What should I put it here? How shall I update the form value? I already said I have to take the question ID and I have to save the value which user has checked. So I need question ID as a key and the value as a value. So what should I put after this? Okay, so we need to work on these two things. Okay, e.target.name. Target.name is this one, right? So e dot target dot name, right? Okay, so this is correct. E dot target dot name. So e dot target dot name is nothing but the question ID. Now what will be the value? E dot target dot value. Okay. So no Singh says e dot target dot value. No. So what I will do, e dot target dot name, that is nothing but the question ID. I will keep the key as question ID and the value whatever user has selected. So this is what I will put the set form values, and here I will check what is the form values is, so that I should know whether I have put it correctly or not. Okay, so let's put this one. So form value question ID and the value is 1. I'll put next. So I select Modi question ID and answer and next. So I selected question ID and the answer. So if you see, everything is going as string because by default JavaScript takes it as string, but I want to take it as a numeric value. So I will change the value when I'm taking the value. How will I change it to integer now? Because it's saving in the string. How will I change it to integer? Parse int. So I have to use parse int. Is this correct usage of parse int, or I have to change something in this? Is this correct, or I have to do some more changes? Is this correct or no? Yes or no? Is this correct way of using the parse int? Ole is saying yes. No one knows. So the answer is always when you use the parse int, you have to pass the second parameter as a 10 because you should save this as a decimal value. So you need to pass second parameter as 10. If you don't put 10, then also it will work fine. But React gives warning if you don't put 10. So it is better we should put the second parameter as 10 whenever we use the parse int. Okay, now let's say check it. I choose Biden. I'm getting numeric integer value. I'm getting integer value. I'm getting integer value. Is that okay? We got all the integer value. So do this in 1 minute and then we'll go further to do some final touch to this quiz. I'll give you 1 minute to finish this part. So with the parse int, you can only use 10. You cannot use 2, 4, 8, 16. Only 10 is used because we need to convert into decimal number. And that is the reason we have to put 10. If you put 8, 9, 12, it will not work. So right now I put this as an empty object because initially when you load the page, form value does not have anything, so it is empty object. So when we run this dot 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 fv, it is empty object, and then we update with the new value, key value pair. If you put here null, then it will be a problem. Initially, if you put null, then it will consider here as an object, but it is null, so it may give error. So you have to put the data type initially what you want to save as. You have to put empty object, and then it will update automatically with the new key value pair. Okay, you got this? You got this point? What we put for FV, why we put FV, it's empty object, and then it updates the new key value pair. Okay, now we have next button, but I want to show finish button in the end. When user will click the finish button, I want to show the results, how many he passed, how many he failed, and that's what I want to show him. Okay, so tell me, if I put this, if I copy this part and put it here and put it here finish, tell me what condition I should put it here so that I know that this is the last page and user has to click the finish button to move forward to show the result. What condition I should put here? One page, one question. That is the standard for this project. Fast, fast. If step equal to questions dot length dot minus one. Yeah, that's correct. I have to check if step is equal to 3 equal to sign we have to put, and we have to see questions dot length minus 1, because if we have 3 questions, that means if I go to step 2, I am in the last question, and whenever we have the last question we have to call the finish button where I will show the result. And here when user will click the finish button, I will create one function called as show result, and I will call that function. So we will now build that function here. This is the function which you have to call when user will ask for show result. So let's put it here, this part. Okay, right now I'll just do console.log of form values to see what user has answered it. But later on then I will do calculation. What are the right and what are the wrong steps. So this is the, when I click the finish button, I'm getting this one, form value is equal to ABC1, XYZ1 and MNO88. Now we have to go through each one and see if user has answered correctly or not. Okay, so let's go do that one. So for that I will loop through all the questions. Okay, let's loop through all the questions. Here I will create one variable called as let total equal to 0, means how many, or I will say count equal to 0. So how many he has given the right answer. So I will say count equal to 0, and then I will go through the questions, all the questions. Okay, so let's go through all the questions. So how will I loop through the question? What should I write down to loop through the question? I want to loop through the questions. So generally map is used when we want to return it in a different format. Here we don't have to return something to display kind of thing. Here we use the map. So we loop through the array and we modified the values to some different format. So map was used. Here we don't want to modify, we just want to calculate. So what should I do? I have not taught you object.entries. So I will not use it even. I generally don't use object.entries. Filter is used when you want to isolate. If the question has array, if you want to take only one or two questions, then filter can be used. But when we have to go through all the options, all the properties or elements, then we don't use we don't use this what you call as filter. Okay, so when we have to just go through all this and we need to do calculation, the best thing is we can do questions dot for each, or some people prefer questions dot reduce. Reduce is little complicated to understand initially, but once you understand it is easy. I have only taken one lecture of reduce. I have to take 2-3 more lectures on reduce. I have to show you many examples of reduce, which I will do later. So right now I will not do reduce because many people will get little confused. So let's use the for each. We can use the for each also in the array, and for each means it will go through all the options. Okay, so it will go through all the options, and here we have to put the arrow function, and when we go in the arrow function we will pass some variable. That variable will be this line, second time it will be this line, third time it will be this line. So let's do the variable. I will put rec as a record, and I will right now I'll just do the console.log of rec. So you will see when I click the submit button, each question will run one time, second time, and this third time. So rec will be first time it will be this part, second time it will be this part, third time it will be this part. I'll show you now. Okay, so you will see rec first time we have the question number 1, second time we have the question number 2, third time we have the question number 3. That means rec is nothing but each question, this list, each question object, sorry. Okay, now we are going through each question. Now we will check what user has put for that question. So here I will write down variable user's answer, means what user has given the answer. So what is the variable to access that user's answer? How can I access the user's answer? User's answer is in the form value. I'll go through it again. So user's answer is in the form values. So now if I want to see what is the user's answer for this question, what will I write here? Voice is not clear. Hello, let me check. Hello. Okay, now maybe if you feel voice is not clear, maybe you log out and log back in. You may feel clear. Okay, tell me what is the user's answer? See, rec is related to the questions. We don't have answer in these questions. So rec dot correct is not the answer which user has given. I am asking what is the user's answer? What user has answered for this question? How will I access that variable? How will I know what user has answered it? After this line, I will write down this line. User's answer is this one. So I should know what user has answered for this question. How will I access it? I already showed you now. User's answer is in the form values. Okay, let's see. I'll show you again. So if I refresh it, so if you see, user's answer is not in the rec. User's answer is here in the form value. User has chosen one option for this question ID, two option for this question ID, three option for this question ID. So I want the value, this value, 1, 2, 2, I want this value. So how will I access that value? And I will put it in the variable called as user answer. I will go through each question and I will check whether user has put what answer for this question ID. So how will I access it? What should I write here? I am asking question. Do you understand what is the question? Do you understand what I asked? I want to know what user has answered for this question. And all the answers which user has given is inside this variable that is called form values. So what should I write here? I already showed you the format. Format of form values is like this. Form values is like this. Question ID and what user has chosen. Let's say user has chosen one number, so I will put 1 here. For the second question, I have whatever user chooses. If user has chosen this one, I will put 3 here. And if I have third question, what value I will put? Whatever user has chosen. User has chosen, for example, Australia, so it will be 2. So tell me, so this is the form values object is like this. We are looping through the questions. Now I want to know what user has chosen for the question number this. So how will I access that variable here? What should I write here? Am I audible? No one is answering. No one knows the answer. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so,
We are able to hear you, sir.
yeah, are you able to understand the question which I am asking? What is the question I am asking? Okay, I think no one knows the answer. Let me tell you. I have to take the form values, and inside the form values, I want the ID, question ID. What is the ID? ID is the rec.id. Rec is nothing but the question. So I have to go with the form values, and I have to choose the rec ID here, so I will get the value and I will put user answer here. So if I want to see what is the user answer, I will see it here. So let's check the user answer. So I'll choose the Biden and then this one, for example. So you will see in the first case I answered 2. 2 number means okay, let's try again. So first case I answered 2 number. 2 number means I answered Amitabh Bachchan. And in the second case I answered 3 number. That means myself. And in the third case I answered 3 number. That means it is South Africa. Is this clear? Did you understand what I am writing here? What user is answering it? I am trying to get that variable. Is this part clear? How I am getting the ID? How I am getting the value? Okay, I was not. Okay, maybe I was not getting the chat. So you people have answered it, but I was not getting it. Sorry. That's why I was asking again and again. Okay, where are the values stored in the in this page? Values are stored in the form values. Is it right or wrong? Where are the values stored in this page? Yes, it is stored in the form values. I will go through all the questions and I will take this ID and I will go to the form values and I will see for this ID what is the value in the form values. That is the user answer. Then I will go to the second question, take this ID and check in the form value if something is if user has chosen something here or not. Then I will go to the third question and I will check in the form value if that is there or no. That means for each case I will take the ID and check if this ID is present in this object or not. If it is present, then I am taking that value. So this means, okay, let's try to create again. Maybe I will explain it again here. So this is the form values. It is the object. So the first object which I will create is this one. And I will put some value here. And I will put some values for second question and third question also. This is my second question. And this is my third question. So this is my form values. Now tell me, if I want to go through all the questions and I want to take the value. So if I want to print the one number, that means the value of question number this, how will I write it? What should I write here so that I can get the value 1? This is the user's input. Okay, form values of 0. Where is 0? Form values of 0. Can you access this form value is object, not the array. So how will you access 0? If I put form value of 0, what will get? Undefined. Form value of 0 is undefined because there is no 0 parameters in this form value. Form values is a object. To access the object, I can use form values dot abc. I will get the value, or I can access form values and I can put abc 1 2 3 here. I will get the value. Both the ways are okay. So how will I access this value 2? What should I write? What should I write here to get this second number option? Form values dot xyz, I will get the 2. Or I can also write form values in the bracket xyz. I can put this information in the bracket also, in the rectangular bracket and with single or double quote. Then also I will get the value. How will I get this value for this ID, this question ID? I want this 3 number. That means I want to access this part. So I'll say form values dot mn. Okay. So to access the value in the object, I will write down the variable name, and in the bracket I will write down the ID which I am trying to access it. Then I will get the value here. Similarly, here I am writing form values, and in the rectangular bracket I am passing rec ID. Rec ID is nothing but this or this or this. So I will get the value which user has saved. Is this clear? This part. I am getting user's answer, what he has saved in the memory. And memory is this variable. And the key for each one is this rec ID. So I will have this ID or this ID or this ID. Is this part clear? Now I want to know what is the correct answer for this question. How will I access the correct answer? What should I write here to get the correct answer? You cannot use what you have written. You cannot put dot here. If you want to put dot here, then we should know exact exact key which you want to access it in the form values, exact key. So dot is not allowed here. Once you are putting the dynamic value, you have to put the rectangular bracket. What is this? This is the question ID. So we are taking the value of the form values with the question ID for which I have saved the information. How will I get the correct answer? Correct answer comes from the question. What should I write here? Sonu Singh is saying form values dot correct answer. Correct answer never exists in the form values. So if we want to access the correct value from the form value, then it is wrong. Form values only keep the information what user has inputted. Form values does not have any correct information. Correct information lies in the question subject, not the form values. Form values is what? It is information which user saves. So if you say form values dot correct, there is nothing like form values dot correct, because form values only save the information which user has selected it. Tell me, I'm waiting. What is the correct answer? I am asking for this question. What is the correct answer? For this question, what is the correct answer? One. So how will you access this one? How will I access the one here? So question dot index dot correct. So generally index is not there. I have already the rake. Rake is nothing but this question object. So what should I write here? Why should I call the questions when I am already looping through the questions and going through each question? Then why should I go to the questions again? The correct is I cannot go to question again. I am looping already the questions and each question is in the record. So the correct answer is record dot correct. Why should I go to questions again and access that information again when I am looping through the questions already and that question is looping? So I have the correct answer here in the record dot correct, because record is nothing but this each question object. So let me see what is the correct answer in each case. Okay, now I'll refresh the page. I will choose this. Okay, now when I will click finish, you will see this is the questions I selected. In the first question, I selected one number, that is uh, that is this one. In the first question, I selected Biden, so I'm getting one number. In the second question, I selected two number, that is Modi. In the third question, I selected three number, that is South Africa. So the user answered first question as 1, correct answer is 1. User answered second question as 2, the correct answer is 2. User answered third question as 3. What is the correct answer? 0. 0 means first option is the correct answer. So based on these two information which we have for each row, how will I calculate that user has answered the right? So I will increase the count. So if user has given the right answer, if I will put something here, and if user has given the right answer, I will increase the count to plus plus. What should I put here in the if condition? What should I put here in the if condition so that I know that user has chosen the right answer? If correct answer equal to record dot correct. Okay, Ashok Kumar is saying if correct answer equal to I don't know. He has not finished it. Okay, Kate is saying if form values record ID. So form values record ID is already the user answer. Okay, and record dot correct is correct answer. So if I choose user answer is equal to correct answer, that means user has chosen the correct answer. So I increase the count. And if it is not same, that means user has not given the right answer. So I don't increase the count. And after this questions is done, I will check what is the total count. So I will check if user answer is equal to correct answer, I will increase the count. Otherwise, I will keep the count same. Okay, let's refresh it. So you will see first I say user answer 1, correct is 1. So this is right. This is 2, correct answer is 2. This is right. User selected 3, but correct answer is 0. So total number of correct answer is 2. If I choose all 3 correct answer, then I will get count is 3. 3 is the correct answer. So now tell me, I get this count. How will I display this count on the page? Okay, so before we display the count on the page, everybody write this part, show result. and then we will, once you're done with this, we will see how to display this count on the page. So here I want to show something, H3 result. So here I want to show that user has chosen the correct answer, total number of correct answers. Here I want to display that correct answer figure. Okay, so when I click finish, I want to show the correct answer figure here. So before I go to that stage, just write down this function and then we will go to that part. I am waiting for you to give me that you have done with this function. I told you to write down this function, then I will go. And no one has said that it's done. Okay, so you have to tell me it's done. Then I will go further. Okay, so now you tell me how will I display this count? Here, total number of correct answer is this one. I want to display this. Can anyone suggest me? How can I display? If I put count directly here, it will give me some error kind of thing. It will not show. Let's see what it comes. So it give me some error. So I cannot count directly here. Who can tell me how can I, what should I do? How can I show this count there? No closure. I'm not talking of closure now. If you return it, it will be returned here. It will be returned here. So you cannot use, even if you return it, you cannot use the count. I want to show the count here. we return, it will be returned here. Count is a numeric one, so length doesn't exist in the numeric integer variable. And count is even not accessible here. Since I get this count, I want to show this count here. Show result.count is not the right. Show result is a function. I cannot call show result.count. Record.count. Where is record? Here, do you see any record? Do you see any variable record? Record is inside this function. I have to call here. Record cannot be accessed outside this part. And we are inside the show result. And we have to show the result here, count here. Yes, we need to use state variable. Otherwise, you won't be able to show it here. So we need to put the state variable constant. Maybe here I can say total because I took the count variable here. I don't want to copy the same variable name. So I will name it total here. And I'll say set total as a function. Then I'll say react.useState and I put 0 here. So when I update the count after the questions part is done, I will call the set total with the count value. Once I pass the count value here in the set total, the total will be updated with the count and I can show it here. Okay, now there is another problem. Okay, let's see if it is working. So what I did, I created a state variable. When I run the show result, I updated this state variable. So this total value will be updated and I display the total here. Now let's see what problem remains. I refresh the page. I'm getting the result now only. I don't want to show this result till I click the finish button. So I go to next. When I click the finish button, I want to show the result with the total number of correct answers. Okay. So this part, this div has to be only shown when I click the finish button. So what change you will do in this function so that I can put some if condition and show this result only when user has clicked the finish button. So what should I change here in this show result? What should I do now so that I should only show whenever I want to show? Even if step is last step, I don't want to show unless I click the finish button. If I show here on the next in the finish button, this has to be this has to be displayed only when user click the button, not when we are on the last page. Okay, so I will create another variable, state variable, show result, and set show result. And initially I will make it false. And when I'm done with this set total count, I will also call show result and I will make it true. And then, okay, there are two show result is overriding each other. So let's write on the show only and set show. And I will call the set show here. And this show will be true when I call this line of the statement. So here, this div, I have to wrap this div with the show. So if show is true, then only show this part. So I'm showing the result only when show is true, and show become true when I call the show result. I make the show equal to true, right? Show equal to true, and this is the state variable we update. So go on creating state variable whenever you need to use the variable which is changing. If it is constant, not changing, then no need to create the state variable. And if it is changing, then you have to use the state variable. So now when I click the finish button, I can see the result. Total number of correct answer is 3. Is that clear? So now add these two state variable and update this line of the code and then write down this part of the code. Okay, finish this and we're done for today's class. So just write down these two lines of the code and then write down this two and then show result. Okay, so we are done with this project kind of thing, the small project which we created, though it is a very small project and we had not taken care of many other cases like 2 questions per page. 1 second. Okay, I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, sorry, I got late. Okay, so we are done with this small project, and tomorrow we will work on the routing stuff in the React, and we'll finish other small items in the React, and then we'll start again with the project. Okay, thank you very much. See you tomorrow.